All right, we are talking about composition. And so composition is a new operation for two functions. So here we have a function f of x equals 6x and g of x equals x plus 3. So when I mean f little circle g of x, I mean f of g of x. And what that means is wherever you go to f and wherever there's an x, you replace it with g of x. And so this is, well, f of x is 6 times x. Instead of x, I'm going to put 6 times g of x instead of x. And so this x gets replaced by g of x. And then I just recognize that g of x is x plus 3. So I put an x plus 3, and now I distribute 6 times x is 6x, 6 times 3 is 18. F of g of x is 6x plus 18. Similarly, g of f of x is just going to g and substituting in f of x wherever there's an x. And so g of x is x plus 3, and so g of f of x is going to be f of x plus 3. Instead of an x plus 3, you put f of x plus 3. And then we'll remember that f of x was 6x plus 3, and that is g of f of x. C is asking for f of g of 4, but we've already done the heavy lifting here because that's f of g of 4 is just referencing f of g of x. So if we go back to A and plug in 4, right? And so that is 6 times 4 plus 18. That's 24 plus 18. The answer, 42. D, in a similar way, g of f of 4. Again, this is a reference to B. Six times 4 plus 3, 24 plus 3. The answer is 27. A little blurry here. Let's make this bigger. Same questions here. This requires a little bit more work. I would first of all highly recommend click on animations in MyMathLab, and that gives a great explanation. An explanation that's going to be identical to the one basically that I'm about to give now. So f of g of x here equals 4 times g of x minus 3. This is 4 times, now g of x was 2x squared minus 5 minus 3. This is equal to, distribute the 4. 4 times 2x squared is 8x squared. 4 times negative 5 is minus 20. Minus 3 equals 8x squared minus 23. B is where things get a little funky. G of f of x has us doing 2 times f of x squared minus 5. And that equals 2 times, and then we remember that f of x is 4x minus 3 squared minus 5. And now, unfortunately, we do have to square 4x minus 3. And so the crucial remark here is that we have to FOIL this. And so this is 2 times, and then when you FOIL 4x minus 3, you get 16x squared minus 24x plus 9 minus 5. We'll distribute the 2. 32x squared, 2 times negative 24 is minus 48x. 2 times 9 is 18 minus 5. That is 32x squared minus 48x plus 13. C and D, like we said before, simply reference A and B respectively. F of g of negative 1, you just go back to A, that is 8 times negative 1 squared minus 23. That's 8 times 1 minus 23. That is 8 minus 23. The answer, negative 15. D asks for g of f of negative 1. Again, in B, we did g of f of x for any x. So for negative 1, you just plug negative 1 into B. 32, the answer to be 32 times negative 1 squared minus 48 times negative 1 plus 13 turns out to be a 32 plus a 48 plus a 13. This is 80 plus 13 is a very weird 93, but the answer is what it is. Five, again, this one. Make this a little bit bigger. We're doing composition again. I've picked this one on purpose. A, f of g of x has us doing what we've been doing for the previous problems. It's f, well, in this case, it's 4 times g of x minus 1. And then we just remember that g of x is x plus 1 over 4. So this is 4 times x plus 1 over 4 minus 1. And these 4's cancel. This 4 and this 4 cancels. Leaves an x plus 1 minus 1, which is x. B, g of f of x is equal to, well, g is x plus 1 over 4. That does that to any x, and so g should take f, add 1, and then divide by 4. And then we see very clearly that f of x is 4x minus 1. So that's 4x minus 1 plus 1 all over 4. That is 4x. The minus 1 and the 1 cancel. 4x over 4, which is equal to x. And so a remark I want to make now is that makes these inverses. This makes f and g inverses. Right, and we're going to be using that for the next assignment. And so the reason why we call them inverses is because now when you do f of g of 7, that you go back to A, that's just 7. And for D, g of f of 7, you put x in, you get x out. You put 7 in, you get 7 out. It's just 7. So you put 7 in the f, and whatever f does to 7, g will undo that. That is what makes f and g inverses. And the other remark is that if f of g of x is x, then the other one, g of f, also has to be x. I hope it helps.